Welcome to the 14th edition of the LICHTER Filmfest Frankfurt International, screening this year from April 27 to May 9 on demand on our website. Today we are with Cássio Pereira dos Santos, the director of Valentina, a film that has been traveling around the world, collecting awards everywhere during the past few months. It has been in Brazil, in Montreal, India, the United States, and now it has its German premiere at Lichter. Mm. The film follows a young woman and her mother when they move to a new town where they are trying to get the girl to enroll in a school with her social name instead of her legal name because she is trans and she wants to register with her new name. Um, this is Cassio's first feature film after 8 short films, so like quite a big career. And we want to start, Cassio, by asking you, what do you think has resonated the most with audiences in this film? Because this film has won many audiences awards in Brazil and in the US, in different places. So what do you think is the stuff of the film that has touched people so much?
Sure. First, thank you for inviting the film to have our German premiere at Frankfurt Festival, Lichter Festival. It's really nice. Thank you. And you asked about the audience reactions to the film. We first of all we decided that it was important to make a film not only that was socially relevant. It's an important topic and timely topic nowadays in Brazil. As you said, it tells the story of this transgender teenager who is fighting for her rights with her mom. But the first thing that we decided was to try to communicate with younger audiences. That was our main idea and our main objective, because the first audience that we wanted to communicate with was students and teenagers and people who studies at universities as well, because we wanted to communicate with the school and university communities, not only in Brazil but around the world if possible too, because of the theme of the film. Valentina, she's trying to use her social name, her legal name, and nowadays in Brazil, at Brazilian schools are not a very inclusive environment for transgender teens, unfortunately. So we decided that it was our first, our main objective to tell the story inside this school environment. And I think that the film is communicating well with audiences because, it's you have like this specific topic, but everybody have the experience of being a student, of being a teenager, of some people, they have the experience of being the outsider inside the school. So I think because of this school environment, and I think it brings connection to the audience, and also the character. I think the audience is really feeling what we've been hearing is that the audience is feeling very connected to the main character, to Valentina. So maybe these are one of the reasons.
Yeah, I think it maybe has to do like you say, with the characters, because I feel like they're really well built, and this maybe has to do with the casting process too, because you have this great actress, Tiesa, who
Yes.
is a YouTuber too, right?
Yeah, she's a YouTuber.
She's the main character. Yeah, so she's very charismatic, and then you have all these secondary characters which are also like very magnetic and attractive to see, and to see how they express themselves. So can you tell us a little bit more about how this casting process went? Were they natural actors? Were they trained actors? Where did you find these people?
Some of them were natural actors. They didn't have any experience before Valentina, and some of them were professional actors. So we decided that it was nice to try to balance these natural actors with professional ones. For example, Valentina's mother, she's a well-known TV actress here in Brazil and film as well, Guta Stresser. And Valentina's father, which is Romulo, he's a professional actor. He has lots of experience in theater and also films, independent films here in Brazil. But we decided that for Valentina and for the young cast, it wasn't very important that they had previous experience in film or theater before. Because for us, the most important thing for Valentina is that she was a trans actress. So it was very important for us because of representations and to be more natural and close to reality. And we also wanted to try to bring the actress real life experiences to the character as well. So we decided to try to find these actresses and actors. We published like a call for entries on Facebook and also on Instagram. And the first post that we did is that we were trying to find a transgender girl or women from a certain age. And we posted this all over our social media. And we started to receive some videos from all over Brazil. So we received around 50 videos from transgender women, and they wanted to be part of the film. So they recorded a really short video with a simple situation, a simple scene. And that's when we noticed Tiesa, because before that, we didn't know about Tiesa before. So we spotted Tiesa's video and we said, oh, wow, she's really talented, and we want to meet her and try to maybe record other scenes with her. And that's what we did. After we saw her video, we also discovered that she was a YouTuber and she already had some experience with camera, which was nice. But at the same time, the film language is it's quite different from the YouTubers' language, because they are speaking with the camera and they're really communicative, really different kind of acting, let's say like this. So we met Tiesa in person after we saw her video, and we recorded maybe 3 or 4 scenes with a professional actor. And these scenes were more related to the script of Valentina. And that's when we were sure, oh, we found Valentina and she's really talented. Yeah. Yes, it was maybe the most important part of the whole process was finding Tiesa, because we wanted to have a strong actress. She was a natural actress. I mean, she was a YouTuber, but it was the first time she was acting for film, in a film. So it was really nice to find her, and she's amazing.
Well, that's really great. And you were saying that you wanted a trans actress, so she could also bring some of her experiences into the story, right? So I was wondering too, like, how did you build the screenplay? Because in the screenplay you have this like this procedural or these technical things that trans people go through, you know, like change of the ID papers, the change in the school system. Like, did you have interviews with different trans people, or were these experiences that Tiesa told you, or how do you find this story?
Tiesa also helped us during a certain part of the process, but she got into the project when maybe the 3rd version of the script was ready. So before Tiesa's opinion, which were also important, we started to try to include, I mean, even before we met Tiesa, we started to include other transgender people in the film, because it was very important for not only for the script, but for the whole process. So the first person that we invited, it was Pedro Diniz. At first, he was a researcher for the film. By the time we met him, he's still a trans man, but by that time he was a student. He was studying at a university. He was studying marketing, and we hired Pedro to do the research for the project. So first he read the script. He did some feedbacks. He gave us some really important feedbacks, but then he made several interviews with trans women through the internet, and he prepared a really detailed list of questions, and he sent to several transgender women, and they answered these questions. And these questions were related to their everyday life, their challenges, and that's when we already knew that it was tough for transgender people here in Brazil to they face several challenges. But with these questions, we got a really maybe deep, we delved deep into this world, and it was very important to read these questions and to talk to everybody involved in the script, which situations were important for the film. Because just like, for example, as I told you, we wanted to make a film that could communicate with young audiences too. But at the same time, after all this research, we noticed that if the story was too light, maybe we wouldn't be fair to the reality of all these interviews we made and to the reality of transgender people here in Brazil. So we decided that it was important to balance like these real life situations that we discovered during the interviews. For example, bullying, social harassment, and a lot of other difficult situations to get, for example, the difficulties they face when they have to enter the job market, and all the process of marginalization. I mean, we heard several difficult stories that should be in the script, but also with Chiesa and other transgender folks that read the script, we thought that it was important to make a film that had a positive impact as well. I mean, it was important to tell the story about difficulties, but it was also important to make a positive impact in the spectator, in the young spectators.
Yeah.
Because most of the transgender films that we saw before, they had really tragic endings. For example, suicide, mutilation, and it was lots of the films were talking about gender dysphoria and all other, I mean, films with difficult endings and negative endings. And we noticed that these stories were not, these stories are very hard to watch if you are a young transgender teen, for example. If you watch only negative stories about transgender characters, it's not good for, we wanted to make a positive and hopeful story for these young kids that were watching. So it was a big challenge to balance the difficult situations and also try to have a positive impact in the film.
Totally. And speaking of that, I was also noticing that there are many recent films about trans people that focus on either the kids, like very young kids. You have, Tomboy by Silenciama,
Yeah.
Little Girl, the documentary, My Life in Pink, which is a bit older. And then you have films focusing on older folks, like, I don't know, Lawrence Anyways, A Fantastic Woman, but you are right in the middle of it, like in this with this character that is very sure of herself, but is still not an adult, so she has to face like all these different dilemmas and problems in her life because she still isn't fully grown up yet. So did you feel like you were feeling a void in film with this story, or what is your relationship with these other films?
Yeah, in fact, we had seen some of these films before, for sure. But maybe the most important thing, the most important reason why we decided to make a film about a transgender girl and this age group, like for 17, she's a 17-year-old girl. It was that we noticed about this situation here in Brazil. because I think the initial spark to make this film was when we came across this information that 80% of transgender students, and mostly teenagers, they drop out of school in Brazil because the school is not an inclusive environment for them. I mean, when they go to school, they suffer harassment and physical suffering, but also psychological suffering. And some of this suffering come from colleagues, from students, but most of this harassment comes from the school staff and teachers. And I mean, sometimes they don't respect their new name, their social name, and sometimes they are really harassed with other means. And I mean, so that was the reason we chose to make a film about a 17-year-old girl, because the school environment here in Brazil, it's not inclusive. And that's when the situation of all the marginalization starts. I mean, sometimes the transgender kids, some of them are not accepted by parents, and that's a point where the process of marginalization starts. But also the second point, and very important here in Brazil, and I think around the world as well, is that schools are not environments. So if they cannot complete school, if they cannot get a high school diploma, for example, they cannot enter university, and also they don't have a diploma to show when they are trying to find a formal job. And that's when the process of marginalization starts. I mean, they don't have a higher education. And I mean, we decided that it was very important to make a film about the 17-year-old girl, to try to bring visibility to this subject, transgender students at school, and try to raise visibility here in Brazil and to start conversations, because we wanted to start showing the film at universities, at high schools, and show the film to teachers, to students, to families. That was the main reason we chose this age group, this certain age for the character. But also, as you said, it's nice that we didn't have so many films about transgender teens before Valentina.
Yeah.
We had some, but maybe not a lot.
Mm-hmm. I was also struck by an image in Valentina at the beginning, where Valentina and her mother arrive at a new house where they're staying. And Valentina stares at a picture of a black man and a young woman, like a very old picture. And I was wondering if there was some racial discussion that you had when making this film, considering Brazil is like such a racially diverse country.
In fact, yes, I think the film also tries to tackle some racial issues, because we have like the Julius character, Valentina's best friend. He's a gay Afro-Brazilian guy that Valentina met, and I think his character kind of tries to represent. I mean, we were not really trying to tackle an issue, but we wanted to include as many really diverse casts in teams, so that the characters would really represent the Brazilian society. Because in Brazil, the Afro-Brazilians, they are more than half. They are 53% of the whole Brazilian population. So it was important to have this representation. And when you talk about that picture that you noticed in one of the first scenes of the film, it was one picture. It was a real life picture from the character who plays the old lady who receives Valentina. That's an old picture of her parents. So we decided to incorporate her own real life pictures inside the art direction. And I think it kind of represents how diverse the Brazilian society is, because I mean, we all are a mixture of different, I mean, races, and that's what Brazil is made of differences, which is very nice.
Okay, I think we have time maybe for one last question.
Okay.
Two more questions.
Okay.
really quickly, I want to ask you about the songs, because I noticed like the songs in the film are very important. You have this song where the Valentina and her mother are moving to the new town. You have two different songs when she's running on the streets. You have like these funky songs in the party. And then I noticed that there is also an original song that was written for the film
Yes.
and composed for the film. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about that. How was the process of choosing this musical environment in the film?
I think it started during the editing, because while we were, the first thing that we wanted is that we didn't want so much music, because when the film has too much music, I think you kind of start to manipulate the feelings of the spectator in a way that maybe it's not so nice. But we needed some music for the film, because we had parties and also for some scenes to create atmosphere and everything. And we decided to talk about the music. We started talking about the music during the editing. The editor Alexandre Taira and we started to exchange musics through the internet, because he was editing the film in São Paulo and I was following everything in Minas Gerais. We met maybe 3 times during the whole process, and we started to exchange music. And that's when Alexandre Taira, the editor, he discovered this new band, which is called Tuyo, which is an amazing band, independent band here in Brazil. And we noticed that maybe their music had like the feeling and the atmosphere and the rhythm that we wanted to some scenes of the film. And we contacted Tuyo, and they were really nice. They were excited to license the music to us. And also we wanted to make, like you said, an original song for the movie ending. So Tuyo, uh, they have a bass player. Her name is Shan. She's also a trans musician. And it was a very nice partnership between Tuyo, which, they didn't write the music, but the music was written by Shan. And they created this music together, and there was a music producer. It was they were wonderful, and also Shan. And during the parties, we also have some music from other artists like Benchi, which is my friend, and also Duda Beach. She's amazing,
Yeah,
and they
she's
all
really
were,
good.
yeah, she's really good, and they all were really happy to license the film for a small project, because Valentina is a small project, independent project, first feature. Yeah, it was really great. We were very lucky to find them.
Okay, and finally, this year's theme is change in our festival. I think change is present in your film, like all over the film, especially towards the end. I think like you have this generational change of how people see trans people, like the rest of the society, how they see trans people, which connects to what you were saying about this film trying to be a little bit more hopeful than other films with similar stories. So I wanted to end by asking you if you could tell us in a few words what change means to you.
I think change is the alternation between happiness and suffering, suffering and happiness. And I think it's in our lives. And it also helps to create the rhythm in the films, because if you alternate suffering and hope, I think change is this alternation between emotions.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Casio, for being with
Thank
us and
you.
for sharing your film with German audiences for the first time.
Thank you so much for inviting us. I'm really happy to show the film in your festival. Thank you so much.